Texas Podcast Massacre contains spoilers and adult language. For more horror, visit us at our website at texaspodcastmassacre.com. This is Texas Podcast Massacre.
Welcome to another episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, coming to you from Houston, Texas. I'm your host, Mitch, and with me as always are my King's Guard, Lisa and Nate.
I don't want it.
do. Yeah, so we are Texas Podcast Massacre, where every week we review a horror movie and debate a horror-related topic with our unsuspecting victim, who's usually someone we would not call a horror fan. I say we usually do that. This week, however, you know, we had a lot of, I think, things we were doing in the studio, got a little backtracked, and then realized, hey, we didn't actually watch a horror movie this week. Lisa, you got off the hook for 1 week.
Don't act like.
How do you feel? It's a red banner day.
Do you feel like you were just unnecessarily made king of something for no reason?
Spoilers.
No, I mean, if you decided to burn down a whole city, I think everyone could understand your motivations for why.
Yeah,
for sure.
But
if you haven't caught on, we are talking about, of course, Game of Thrones. The season finale ended. We did do
series finale.
Excuse me. You know, we did an episode on the Battle of Winterfell because that was a more horror themed topic, and I guess this is a show that all of us really have been big fans of, and felt more appropriate to talk about that. Yeah, I think overall kind of impression of this episode before we get in it, Lisa.
Not that bad. It's okay. I don't, to be honest with you, we went so downhill that I had no idea what to expect. So I set my bar way low, and I was like, oh, okay, this is all right.
Gotcha. And Nate, how about you? What were your overall thoughts?
Well, I think that this definitely counts as a horror episode for the writing. I had my bar set low, but I think this episode was even lower than my bar that Lil Jon couldn't get there.
Oh my God.
That's how much I disliked it.
All right.
What about you, Mitch?
Man, I liked it fine, actually. And as we talk about it, maybe we'll get into more of whether, I'm colored by the last few weeks of this season. To me, everything, it made sense. Again, what Game of Thrones has been strong this season in the cinematography and the acting and the music. I don't know. Maybe I went into this just being like, whatever. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Well, with that said, I guess let's get into a quick debate question.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Okay. So Game of Thrones, 8 seasons, 10 years, because it took us 2 years to get the few episodes we did get. Where does Game of Thrones, now that we've got the ending, where does it sit in your list of, like, I don't know, the top? Does it sit in a top list of TV shows? Where does it sit among some of the other greats? Like, I think like Breaking Bad, X-Files, Walking Dead, all these kind of classic, like, big, Can
I say one thing though?
Yeah.
Because for some people, this has been 30 years in the making because of the books. And I'm sure everyone knows the books aren't finished. We don't know if we're going to get a book ending. So for now, this is all we got.
Prequels are coming.
Woohoo. He needs to just finish the book the way he always intended to finish the book. And you're always going to, even if he does finish the books, you're always going to be second guessing, was he influenced by their ending, right? Did who ended up sitting on the Iron Throne? I'm quoting here. Was that who he always intended, you know? So I don't know. If you take just the TV show itself comparatively, I think it's extremely difficult in writing or in television to write a satisfying ending. There's been very few series in this world where people are like, that was brilliant. Usually someone's like, oh, that was hot garbage, you know? So do I think this is the best one ever written? No. Trying to think of one I was more satisfied. To me, the best so far has been Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
That to me was a satisfying ending that made complete and total sense. But there's others we've been severely disappointed in, like Dexter and stuff like that. So
yeah, I mean, I would certainly put this way above like Lost and Dexter.
yeah.
You know, I see where you're coming from. Nate, what about you? Where would you rank this one?
I don't know. I think Arya sailed off very Dexter-esque. I don't want to discount.
Well, I mean,
that
she didn't
very
abandon her like kids and just like, you know, just fuck it. I'm gonna, I don't know, live out in the wilderness in Montana or whatever. I don't fucking.
She had no one to answer to. She could do whatever she wants.
She abandoned her family. We're the last of the Starks. We got to stick together. Peace out. I'm Arya the Explorer, and I'm just
well.
Gonna go sail
To be
west.
fair, she did do that and then peace out to go kill Cersei. So I mean,
Did she take her backpack with her? Backpack.
oh my lord.
She just got her sword is her backpack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically it. Man, if you would have asked me this before the season started, it would have been very high, and it dropped for me some. But the show was just so good, even though I did not care for the last season. I think it's pretty high up there. The one downside to the show is that now that I know the end, rewatching it is like just shot for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one downside. So I don't know if I can even. Like. Okay, so what kind of TV shows are we comparing it to? Am I comparing Game of Thrones to Parks and Recreation, or how am I? How do I?
I mean, yeah, any TV show, I would say. Doesn't have to necessarily be. I mean, yeah, Parks. I feel like Parks and Rec would, you know, fits better than like Family Matters, which is a sitcom that just sort of kind of ended. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. No. So fine. I'm just gonna pick Parks and Rec. That show was like the first season sucked, and then the whole rest of the show was consistently good and upbeat, and everyone's choices made sense, and it tied everyone up nicely. So
it's okay to suck early on as long as you get better at the end. You just don't want to do the opposite. Is that sort of the
yes? That is exact. That is
Yeah.
You summed it up perfectly. That is
what
exactly
we call the Lost formula?
I never
Where
watched
you're really
Lost.
intriguing in the first couple seasons, then you have a writer's. You know, Lost. I go to Lost because it's got a lot of interesting parallels with Game of Thrones in terms of the production side. Really, really strong premise. A huge social media buzz. You know, everyone talking about it. Kind of a lot of questions. You know, really cool mystery. And then like halfway through, the writers had the strike. And so they were just like, well, shit, we don't have any material to work with. We'll just have to kind of wing it. And so like 2 seasons are just garbage, largely because of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe another show I would in the same kind of vein that I think it's a little different because it's an anthology, but like Black Mirror has been consistently good across. They're coming out with like the 5th season.
Yeah.
But that one's tough because you don't have like a common theme. So I've never seen Breaking Bad. I might have to watch it now because then everyone is saying that and Game of Thrones were the ones, and now that Game of Thrones disappointed me, I have to get into Breaking Bad probably. So
is a Breaking Bad's to me Breaking Bad is a top show. Although Parks and Rec is a great choice. They're both great.
Can I fall asleep watching Breaking Bad? That's one of that. Is that a show?
There's like a couple couple seasons, but it's one of those things where it's one of those shows that's so well thought out and planned that there are going to be things you see early on that don't really mean anything, and then later they take on significance, but it never feels like contrived, right? Like it never feels like they just went back in like the later seasons like, oh, hey, remember this thing? We should just like totally do something with that. It always felt planned and like it had a purpose in a sense. I think history is going to be kinder to Game of Thrones as we move away, and we don't have sort of the immediacy of watching these episodes. I think again, we'll get into this specific episode in a second, but I think overall, I mean, it's really hard to throw out 6 incredible seasons.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Based on effectively what is one season that got split in half. I don't want to cut them too much slack because I mean they're getting paid millions of. I mean HBO is offering them the world to do whatever they need to do to finish it. But they didn't. I think one podcast I listened to had a good point. They didn't sign up to write fan fiction for Game of Thrones, right? I know they know the beats. There are obviously things they could have done to be better. I don't know. I still know if they. There's a reason. I mean, I'm sure there's a better reason than we just want to move on to go do Star Wars now. But
as soon as they ran out of book material, it went downhill. And I think history will be kinder. Everything in the show makes sense from a point A to point B sort of perspective. I think where it fell apart in this season and why there's so much kind of just anger about it is that it didn't track well. It was rushed. So it just, when Danny flips, right, it doesn't feel earned, even though it's been set up forever. And it's been something that's been speculated about in the books forever, And I thought in this episode, we'll get into it, but I thought Tyrion laid it out well, that's what I say. Are we past the debate question? Let's just jump into it then.
Well, okay. So let me give you some shows. I'll go back and forth. So Lisa, and you both, I'll say a show and you tell me if it was better or worse in terms of the ending, overall season, everything. So let's start with an easy one, baseline. Lost. Lisa.
Worse.
Nate.
Wait, I haven't seen Lost. So.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, don't.
Okay, all right. Well, now I don't have to.
Skip Lost.
Don't bother.
Yeah. This podcast is beneficial for me as well as the listener. So this is great. This is a good one.
Okay. Let's go Parks and Recreation. What was better, Game of Thrones or Lost? Parks and Rec.
Probably Parks and Rec.
I say Parks and Rec for sure.
Oh man, I would probably agree. Parks and Rec. They're so. All right. So you've never seen Breaking Bad. So Lisa, Breaking Bad.
Oh, easily Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So here's one for our horror fans. This or Walking Dead?
Is that over?
No, but I'm just where would you put it right now?
It might as well be.
I stopped watching that years ago, so probably Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I think that's where I said
Not even good enough to keep me going.
Well, I'm not going to answer the question. I just want to hear Lisa say Carl once.
Carl.
That's all I wanted.
What about Dexter?
Walt.
Oh God. What about Dexter?
Dexter's ending was very bad.
All right, let's pretend. All right, original Dexter all the way through. Game of Thrones better. What if the show had ended after Trinity Killer? Where would you have put that?
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Dexter.
You'd have put Dexter over Game of Thrones? Yeah. It would have been close for me, I think. Because up until Trinity Killer, which the Trinity Killer's arc is so great.
Yeah.
Then that's when it went off the cliff.
The one with Julia Stiles was after that, right?
Yeah, it was like right after. Yeah.
Yeah. Trinity Killer sounds great. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that'll wrap it up. Like I said, I think history will be kinder to this as we go forward. I think it's kind of in style to kind of shit on Game of Thrones right now. Just because everyone's already just upset about the other episodes, and I think some people just aren't going to let it go. Nate, But no.
Hey, no one's ever called me in style before. This is surprising to me.
Okay, so if you let us know what you think about the show. We'll be posting this obviously at our usual time. Send us emails, TexasPodcastMassacre@gmail.com. Send us tweets, Facebook messages, whatever. We want to know what you think. I'm sure this is going to be pretty divisive over the next few days. I'm interested to see all the takes. But with that, do y'all want to? Let's just talk about this episode. I guess the best place to start is really just let's talk about the aftermath of them just seeing all the carnage. I guess what were y'all thoughts? I guess around Danny's turn, and then about kind of her sort of speech to her army about that we're going to break the wheel. We're gonna keep basically liberating everywhere.
Oh no, Lisa, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, dang it. Well, I was just thinking, she was totally right. So Daenerys says, we're ruining the whole episode, obviously. Daenerys said, there's still a lot of crap in Westeros around from the old ways, and we should just like break all that. And as soon as she's gone and they have their Knights of the Round Table thing, and Sam goes, "Hey, maybe we should try democracy." Everyone laughs, and everything is exactly.
Oh my god, that was hilarious!
And everything exactly how it was before.
It came full circle,
except the Red Keep has wheelchair access now. I don't know. Everything else is the same.
Let's be fair. Let's be fair to the Sam and the rest of them. We don't have full democracy, but we have more of an electoral college system. I feel like that's fair. It is at best what we have right now today.
But that's what they had anyway, because when they would marry all the houses together to like form alliances and crap, they're just doing that.
Well, it was all
marriages, I guess.
Until Robert Baratheon, it was all Targaryens. It wasn't marriage alliances. It was all Targaryens.
Well,
it was
I'm
full
saying,
rule of Targaryens until Robert got pissed off.
Well, I'm saying the system that allowed Cersei to be there is basically the same.
Oh, well. It's, to be fair, that was a relatively new system, I guess, in the context of the show.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's like, oh, let's just roll with that. Let's let the dude who had a crossbow on two dudes like just handle all the money. Okay, I don't know. Sure, let's go for that.
I mean, Braun has certainly shown us a couple. Okay, so I want to talk about that scene because
anyway,
that's an awesome scene.
I'm going to say I agree with Daenerys. I was going to go on a limb.
You stand with the Queen of Ashes.
But think about this: in World War II. The Allied side bombed Dresden in Germany. Entire city firebombed it. Totally unnecessary. War was basically over, and they didn't kill the president. So I'm okay with it.
Fair point, Lisa.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the way it went down, but getting to what you said about Tyrion and Jon talking, and Tyrion literally laying it out. He's like, look, when she did this, we cheered her because those were evil men. When she did this, we cheered her because those were evil men. We've been building her up for so long, she thinks she can't do anything wrong. So we built this monster. Now we got to fix it, So I didn't like how it went down last episode, but it makes sense. Yeah. And just I was telling you, it was kind of poetic how her and Jon's scene went down, because she finally, after her whole life, got to the Iron Throne, and then he's like, nope. So,
yeah. Well, you know what, I think part of why I really liked this episode, and why maybe I'm a little more high on it than maybe both of you are. I like that Daenerys wasn't full. They didn't make her super villain about it, right? She wasn't, I think just from the little bit I've seen online right after the episode, it seems like people I think they were kind of wanting a full on, like, oh, she's either evil or good, or, and I thought they did a really good job of keeping her kind of in a moral gray area, and keeping John really when he's struggling with what to do. Even when it's done, he doesn't like I did the right thing. He's just questioning it even after the fact.
Yeah.
She just couldn't reconcile that. Oh yeah, I just murdered a bunch of innocent people. She just said, oh well, no, they were all Cersei's,
I did what I
pawns and
did
weapons.
for the good of the realm.
Yeah, she refuses to show mercy now. And I think because she is emboldened because she has a big fucking dragon that just wiped out her enemy. Who's going to stand against? It becomes a question of who becomes an evil man in her eyes. And I say evil man, but I mean like just using Tyrion's words, like who becomes the evil, person, in every conflict, someone thinks the other person's the wrong side. So I thought it was really well done in terms of that. And when John and Dany actually meet up and talk and he's asking her those questions, I thought you still sort of believe that she genuinely believes she's right. And John has to make sort of that call. What did y'all think about that scene where she lands in King's Landing and as she's walking, the wings are just like right behind her?
That was cool.
That was awesome. Awesome.
Easily one of the best shot scenes of anything I've ever seen. It was just
right there. She is the dragon.
She's the dragon. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fantastic. There was like 2 highlights for me in the episode. That was one. We'll get to the other one later, but
yeah,
that was good. Now, I do have to say though that okay, so Daenerys is all like, I'm right, but isn't she also the queen? Isn't that what all kings and queens do? I don't know.
No, fair. I mean, it's what you mean, like her saying that she's
like I'm the king. Remember when Cersei like, hey, Tyrion or Littlefinger thinks that he has power, and then she told everyone to like cut his throat, and then she's like, nah, never mind, and then like all the people backed up. Yeah, I don't know. That's what all the kings and queens do. I don't know.
Sure, I guess if you've just been ruled by that, and really since the Mad King, you've been just to the whims of whatever the king or queen wanted.
Okay,
seeing it still going back to war, maybe after you fought so hard to try to get peace and to end it all.
What messed up? Okay, I guarantee you, Bran's gonna do some messed up shit. He's like, look, plant 8 jillion of the face trees. We're like, we need to eat food. They're like, I don't care. Plant the face trees. Like, all right, I guess. I don't know. Everyone's got to have like 1 million ravens so I can warg into them whenever I want. I don't know. He's going to have some crazy shit too.
I just don't know that Bran's going to do all that much. I think Tyrion's going to really
maybe
just run.
That's the best.
No one has failed upward more than Bran. Jon Snow was there, and then Bran just like surpassed him times 1,000,000.
Bran's like what happens if you get injured on the job and it's someone else's accident, mistake, and they're just like, well, shit, we don't want you to sue us. How would you like to be the new producer or the new manager of this? It's one of the sure, not qualified at all.
Yeah, he literally was like, oh, I can't be Lord of Winterfell because I'm the 3-eyed raven. Like, psych. I'm the king now. Who knows? I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean,
now Daenerys. Now Daenerys' death, most telegraphed thing in the history of Earth, or like when Jon walked up there. I mean, did you have any thought in your head that she was going to survive the encounter, being all by herself by the Iron Throne for no reason?
No, I think I just wasn't sure who was going to actually kill her or what was going to happen. In that regard, I think that really the only thing that really surprised me about it was that it happened so soon in the episode. For whatever reason, I don't know why. It was the last episode, but I feel like I was waiting for a lot more stuff to happen with Daenerys. Like she was gonna do more. There was gonna be more of a trial for Tyrion. I thought, I thought there was gonna be a lot more, and she just kind of died. I was like, oh well, I guess that's all right.
Yeah, I would say,
and I don't know that I'm upset about that. It certainly wasn't what I expected.
I would say it was kind of backwards. Normally, I think you would do the setup to the ending of the action with the politics stuff. Yeah, but they did that the exact opposite, which in my mind made it fall kind of flat because then you have kind of like your climax of the action that drives, the plot forward at the very end. And then the rest is kind of like just.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because I certainly had questions of why Grey Worm is still like just being, deciding to like negotiate with everyone and work with everyone.
Well, it's like, look, you helped
He's
us.
he's got this whole army.
Yeah, you helped save the army of the living, but in a way lesser capacity than your boss. But we killed her, so we're cool, right? I don't know, kind of. I don't know. Yeah. What do you think, Lisa? What do you think about the death and then they had the aftermath be all the a little more political stuff? Did that make sense to you?
I thought that was fine. I didn't want them to end the episode with him killing her. I wanted resolution on all that. The funny thing is, it reminds me the most, and he's come out. Doesn't George R. R. Martin hate Tolkien?
Yeah.
But this really did remind me of Return of the King. The last big thing happens with getting the ring to Mordor, and then they still spend another like half hour at the end of the movie wrapping everything up. They write, the book or whatever. Sam writes the book in this case. It was very, very similar.
Well,
but I liked it because I like having that resolution. I want to know what happens to all these characters I'm invested in.
I don't think that's the part of what he doesn't like about Tolkien. I think what he didn't like about Tolkien is the lack of any sort of gray area. You are either.
That's fine. I don't care why he hates him, but I'm just saying it's so funny that it's parallels Return of the King a lot.
I would have loved to have seen like a 15-minute kissing scene like the end of Lord of the Rings in this show.
I thought you were about to talk about that middle scene of The Matrix Reloaded.
No, I was gonna say, because at the end of Lord of the Rings, everyone's just kissing each other. Like, oh, we're going to the elf place, so I'm just gonna kiss everyone like in slow motion. I would if that was John and Tormund, then I'm in. If that was John and Tormund, then I'm 100% in.
Yeah, you mentioned Return of the King. The scene, I know we're jumping around a little bit. The scene with John where he kneels to Bran, I half expected Bran to say, "You bow to no man." You bow to no one, like Aragorn says to the hobbits.
What if Bran's decree is no one kneels to me because I can't kneel? You have to sit like Indian style. Like that's the new thing now.
I know you think it'd be rude. Everyone stands up from their chair when he walks in the when he walks in the room.
This is
when he wheels himself in the room.
This is gonna be the new ghost controversy. Why didn't he hug Bran? You're not allowed to hug him now?
Because Bran's fucking weird, man. Some people, when you see him, it's just a polite handshake and or away from a distance. You don't need to be hugging everybody. It's.
So if Bran, this is the one thing that I hated about Bran being the king, is that Bran's like, you did exactly what you needed to do. It's like, so if that's the case, did like 1 million people need to die or some nonsense? And you're like, oh, I'm king now. Like, did he just let 1 million people die? If he could like, I don't know if he could tell the future, but he was like, oh, everything just worked out because it worked out. Isn't that great? It's like, you suck. I don't know. I couldn't stop thinking about that. I don't know. And Sansa's just like, hey, I know like 1 million people died, but like, can I have my own kingdom? Is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine.
Everyone's like, yeah, sure.
Am I not supposed to spoil Avengers Endgame?
No, don't spoil that. What?
Yeah, don't spoil that.
Don't do that.
All right.
We don't want everyone to hate us.
Same sort of situation there.
Okay.
Strange knows. I mean, you see this in Infinity War. Strange knows what's coming, right?
Well, that's a different bonus episode. We'll have to come back and discuss. I mean, so are y'all shocked that Bran is the chosen leader?
Yes. Well, I take it back. I would have been shocked except that Mitch has been saying for the past 2 weeks, oh, Bran's going to sit on the Iron Throne. Oh, it's definitely going to be Bran.
I didn't say Bran was going to sit on the Iron Throne. I said he was going to roll over to the Iron Throne.
Well, there's no Iron Throne technically, but I was joking with my friend. I was like, oh, what if Bran becomes the king at the end of this? He's like, if that happened, I would just like retroactively hate every episode of the show that ever happened. And I'm still waiting for his text. So I'm pretty excited about that one.
Yeah, that's largely very similar to my story. Why I got on the Bran train. A few weeks ago, I was talking to my brother, and my brother doesn't really like any of the talking scenes. I'm surprised he really watches this show. He really likes more action scenes, but we were talking about it, and he hates Bran, hates the character, and I think I just said jokingly, Bran's probably gonna end up being like king just to like piss off everyone. He's like, I'm fucking probably right. I'll be livid. So yeah, it's just like you, Nate. I am waiting for tomorrow when I get that phone call from my brother losing his shit. I gotta say, so one of my favorite scenes was Drogon, just burning down the Iron Throne.
Yeah,
it's just gone now.
Yeah, why?
Why not?
Why not?
Why?
I honestly really loved that.
Yeah, but why? I don't understand why it happened.
But why not?
I get that he did like the dog like nuzzle, like, oh, my master's dead. That sucks. I get that, and that I thought that was
it was symbolic.
Said if my mom can't have the throne, nobody
can. Yeah.
Mom ain't happy, nobody happy. Nate, come on.
Okay, mom ain't happy, nobody happy, but like the dude who killed her's right in front of me. But he's cool. I don't know.
Yeah, it would have been better if Drogon eaten Jon.
If Drogon had killed Jon in the process, melted the Iron Throne down. Oh, amazing. Oh, then I'm 100. This like flips it 100% for me. But I was just like, oh, this is so convenient. God damn it.
Yeah.
But Jon's still a Targaryen.
But he's not. Well, he can still get burned. So
I know he can get burned. Actually, it would have been cooler if he tried to burn him and he walked out of the fire.
No, he's already got burned in previous seasons. So, but yeah,
I thought it was fine burning the Iron Throne. I did see a meme that said Drogon gets up there and goes, "I don't know if you did this or this chair of spikes did this, but someone's gonna pay."
I like it.
It makes more. It makes more sense. Okay, yeah, I'll take that.
Some things are just rule of cool, man. What
I was thinking at the very end of the episode, because the end of the episode, there's the door closes behind, and I was just thinking, you know what? I wish Hodor hadn't held the door. I was thinking that at the end. I'm like, you know what? Maybe just let him through. That would have been cool.
Yeah,
I'd have been.
Like I said, I'm not. I can't spend precious minutes of my life trying to understand the rationale of a dragon that doesn't exist. Normal human character, sure. I can't rationalize what goes through a dragon's head. So I'm not gonna really overanalyze why. I was very willing to just suspend my disbelief and just let that go.
Okay, that's fair. Now the one.
Also, why does Bran care where Drogon is now? He's like, oh, I'll find him. What are they gonna try and rehabilitate him?
Well, because there's a goddamn dragon on the loose.
Dude, Bran is the ultimate
anymore.
villain. Bran and Sansa planned this so that the Starks would rule. Look, they're gonna rule Westeros. Oh, temporarily because he can't have kids. Whatever, they'll figure some shit out. Qyburn made a zombie. They can make some kids out of this dude. You got Sansa in the north. You got Jon Snow with the wildlings, half Stark, and Arya's gonna conquer whatever lands are in the west side. They're like it's like a Stark empire.
Unless this world is actually on a flat planet, in which case she's gonna just fall off the map.
What if Bran is Emperor Palpatine? He's like, oh, I'm just trying to be in the Imperial Senate, just helping everybody out and trying to make peace. Oh, everyone is now. Oh, and then he gets real creepy in a wheelchair and he starts shooting lasers at people.
I mean, I guess it would fit in with the D&D taking over the Star Wars franchise.
Oh my God. It
maybe that's what we're going to
get. God damn it.
Maybe Bran's going to come in as the new Sith Lord.
Oh man. What do you guys?
What? Oh my God. What if he is Darth Plagueis the Wise?
I don't even know. What does that mean? I have no idea.
Do you not know that? There's a quote. It's like, have you ever heard? I think he's telling Anakin. Have you ever heard the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise or whatever?
Oh, I never.
Because he's trying to tell him like that all the Sith are terrible kind of thing.
God, let's just torch every fandom that's ever existed. All right.
Yeah, Star Wars fans have been through enough.
The one thing I didn't like. So after everyone's dead, the one thing I didn't like. Oof, I misspoke there. one of the things I didn't like was that they're trying to figure out who should be the ruler of Westeros. And they said,
Okay.
we'll do a council style instead of who's born. But all the ideas and no one else really talks come from Tyrion, the person who basically enabled Daenerys in the first place. Why did they listen to him?
I don't know. I still feel like the dragon enabled Daenerys more than anything.
He had like you could still see like the hand of the king pin outline on his outfit. I mean, come on, it was pretty recent.
I think because his reputation still, I mean, he still was regarded as being very intelligent, and
I don't can possibly see how.
Well, of the people that survived, they don't know all the details. They haven't been privy to everything we've seen.
So like
Edmure Tully, like he would know, you know.
Okay, so this is like a rebranding. He's trying to rebrand while being captain.
Rebrand. No D. So Nate, was there anything you did like about this episode?
I love the shot of the dragon wings coming out from behind Daenerys.
Yeah,
great. I loved her rallying the troops. It was evil-ish, and it showed her moving that direction. So there was a little bit of character development for her in the episode. She thought the Iron Throne would be bigger. That was okay. All right, we were getting a little bit more of the character beats. That was good. I like Ghost was at the end. That was I like.
I think most everyone everyone's highlight was Jon and Ghost back together.
I loved that was great. So by the end I just hated Sansa so much. Oh man, what'd you guys think about Sansa by the end of this?
You hated her because why?
Well, it's like, okay, so like King's Landing had like a jillion people murdered, but like the Northmen lost a bunch of soldiers. So like, peace, there's 6 kingdoms now. Well, that's convenient for you that you told Tyrion.
But they took the biggest hit fighting the Night King.
Yeah, but she didn't keep a secret, which led to the murder of 1 million people. And then she's like, ooh, my people are tired. So I'm going to like just...
I don't think the secret had anything to do. I think Daenerys still would have killed them.
No, because then Varys wouldn't have gone against her, and I think she would have been fine because she was worried about that in the back of her mind. So that's what I thought anyway. So in terms of that, I was like, oh well, Sansa just fucked everything up. So yeah,
I don't know if I fully agree with that. I certainly think it split, you know, she was certainly trying to spread discord, but you know, I think the way it came across to me in that episode was Daenerys saw the Red Keep and it was just a reminder of everything that's been taken from her, that it was, you know, that this is where her family has ruled, that she was run out of here. And that she, you know, she saw it as sort of the wheel, right? The institution that is, you know, taking over. It would have made more sense that she just destroyed the Red Keep. It even would have been better had they either not done the bells or at least like she was just like, I'm going to fry up every Lannister person. And then all the innocent people were just dying as a consequence. I thought that may have been a better way of handling that piece. But I don't know that I felt any real differently about Sansa.
Oh man, yeah.
You know, yeah. I think because because again, you're looking at it just from what happened. You know, you got a little bit of recency bias, right? Yeah, this happened, but also how many atrocities has her and her family and all the North really suffered since the start of the show, during the War of the Five Kings, during the Boltons running things. I mean, that's what she's playing for, right? That's her. No, that's the game she's playing.
Yeah, well, I think Daenerys probably had it worse. So, I mean, if you want to go that direction, Daenerys got sold into basically child slavery to some weird Dothraki dudes. Had her kids murdered, friend beheaded. I don't know. Sansa didn't have any kids murdered. So maybe she's got that on her. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that we want to step into who had it worse in the
exactly.
Sansa had it pretty fucking bad for a long time.
But if you think about it from Sansa's perspective, okay, so she gets all the people in the Vale, then gets Littlefinger killed. So then she's got the Vale people like locked in. Then she doesn't want any of the people that actually help, like that are the ones who go in the front lines. She's like, what do I got to do? All those Dothraki and Sullied people. I hate them. They give all their lives for fighting the dead people. Then as soon as they get...
Well, it didn't look like they gave a lot of their lives. There's a shit ton of them left in this episode.
There's half. They said half, which seemed like a high number.
That was a high half.
It was a high half.
Where the hell were they hiding during the battle of...
Then Daenerys basically saves the world. Okay. And then she's like, I hate you.
Arya saves the world.
Okay. Well, Daenerys, at least an assist. It's at least you put that in the scorebook. That's an assist for sure. And then she's like, I hate you. And then 1 second after swearing my brother, I'll keep a secret. I don't. And then that ends up making you go crazy. I don't know. Not a fan.
I think she knew what the fuck she was doing.
That's what I'm saying. If there's like another season, I think she would probably be the bad person. Like she'd be the Cersei of the North. That would be my guess. But
I think it's fitting that at the very beginning of the series, she just wanted to marry Joffrey so she could be queen. She got what she wanted.
No?
Yeah, she did.
Well, I'll tell you what, Lisa, did you have a favorite scene or was there anything else about this episode that you enjoyed?
That we haven't talked about? Yeah. I did see someone write a meme, Brienne over here editing Jaime Lannister's Wikipedia page.
That's good.
That was great. The only thing about that scene is I would have liked for her to flip the page and write her name down.
Yeah, to know that she's
nice.
actually. I mean, I think they alluded to that she's probably the commander of the King's Guard.
Well, yeah, but still,
it would have been nice.
It would
to
have
seen
taken
that.
2 seconds to write her name down.
Agreed.
I like that Podrick is a knight now.
Oh yeah. That was
great.
great. Yeah, that was really good.
I like that Sam has come all this way.
Yep.
And is a Grand Maester or whatever they call
the
him.
Archmaester. Yeah.
That was great. I like how they wrote. Of course, they were going to write a book. Of course, but I like how Tyrion wasn't even in it.
Yeah. Tyrion being excluded
that was pretty funny. So overall, I like the endings for the characters. You know, I was telling Mitch right after, I'm a little miffed that Jon's parentage, I mean, I guess it kind of mattered, but then I was like, it's Game of Thrones. I'm not shocked that it doesn't really fucking matter. So.
Yeah, I mean, his birthright serves a purpose, but not the purpose you think it's going to serve.
Right. Yeah. Bran being on the throne is a little weird, but it was okay, I guess.
What are you talking about?
Because here's the thing, he's the three-eyed raven. So who's going to be the next three-eyed raven? Someone's got to take up the mantle when he dies.
They didn't even need one three-eyed raven because the Night King was killed by some random person. They were just wasting time being three-eyed ravens the whole time. Max von Sydow could have been walking outside instead of being on this tree the whole time. But I don't know.
I did like how Tyrion's like, no one has a more interesting story than Bran with Arya, who is like learned how to like murder people, shapeshift, full on just assassin, and all that. Like, that's not an interesting story.
I think she wants to keep that.
Bran just got high in the woods and then was like, I can see time. It's not interesting. That's like your first 2 years of college when you're a psych major.
So I guess to wrap it up, I want to ask you guys, was there anyone's ending that you were unhappy with? You know, and the main focus of the Starks, right? They've always been the main focus of this show. So anyone, were you chill with? I know Nate said he hates Sansa, so I guess he wasn't too happy with that. But what about Arya and Jon?
I was unhappy more as a fan than than thinking like critically with Jon's ending. I just felt sad for him more than anything.
After all that, I think he'll be happy there, though.
I guess. I don't know. It's so hard to tell. He's always like
if he
moping
just
and
stayed with
brooding.
Ygritte north of the wall, he wouldn't have had to go through all this shit.
Well, that's the thing. After all that, he's like,
yeah,
just out in the wild now.
But it's Game of Thrones. They were never gonna have like.
I know. I wasn't
happy
expecting
ending.
him to be. It would just, for someone whose whole story arc had been he's never really been accepted by his family and all that. I mean, I know. I guess he kind of got it toward the end there.
Yeah.
With the last scene.
He was.
but,
Wait, you're saying John?
yeah.
Well, he was like a king for a while. He was accepted pretty well.
Well, I know, but I'm saying to then go back and basically be cut off from everyone and sort of just, okay, I'm with the wildlings now. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad ending for him. I just, as someone who I guess wanted maybe a happier ending for him. Maybe that's the way to put it. What about you, Nate?
Oh man. Whose ending? I'll just say whose ending I liked. How about that? I'm gonna go the opposite direction here.
Okay.
I liked that. John and Tormund get to bro out with Ghost north of the wall.
No.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, I liked that. That was nice. I don't know why they were walking through the gate when there's a whole giant hole in the wall, but I mean, maybe that's more convenient. I don't know, the gate, but
Bran fixed it already.
I'm trying to think of who else I liked. I was going to say like Brienne. Oh, she's the head of the King's Guard. That's nice. But her writing all those nice things about Jaime in that book, I was not a fan of. I feel like
I liked
it was a little selective.
You
It was a little selective.
Yeah, but that's Brienne, right? She was never gonna.
Well, because I think to Brienne, I think what she wanted to convey was that he had regained his honor, because that's what the page basically says. Before she starts editing it, is that he's the Kingslayer and that's it. Excommunicado.
Wait, you
right?
think he regained his honor when he went back to Cersei?
Yeah. Just look. At the end of the day, he kept his oaths to Brienne and then also fought with them. But at the end of the day, he kind of just said, "Look, this is who I need to be with. This is, it's, I don't know. I mean, if you can be upset with Bran. I think my bigger thing, they could have done that without them banging, but
Well, yeah, I mean, that part I don't care about. I mean, everyone's getting hammered at a party. I'm okay. I was okay with that. That was fine.
Yeah, but him saying, "Look, this is the person that I love." It doesn't. That never really upset me like everyone else did. I think everyone just got really upset because they thought like he was just going to be like with Brienne now, or a lot of people wanted him to be, if you read the books, the Valonqar, and he was going to be who took out Cersei. Honestly, in retrospect, it makes a lot more sense this way. It really is more fitting with this character, and it doesn't really. I don't think it really portrays a lot of the character development for him up to this point.
I mean, he did promise an oath to stay in Winterfell, but I mean, whatever. But I don't know. I thought he sucked. I don't know. I thought if I was Brienne, I would have been like just really talking shit in that book. What is he gonna do? Fight back?
Well, that's because Brienne's a good person. You're a shithead, so I don't know what to tell.
Is she a good person? I don't know.
Brienne, no one. Come on, you're gonna say Brienne's not a good person.
Well, I think in Game of Thrones, everyone's kind of. A lot of people are gray area. I think most people would say like, oh, Sansa was really good, and I think toward the end, she was like very manipulative, right? In a more gray area, even if you kind of like where she ended up, you're like, oh, but that was a gray area. That makes sense. And then she's writing all like the very positive things about Jaime. She could have added a few like pushed boy out window, started war that killed tens of thousands of people. Could have thrown that in just for a little counterbalance.
Yeah, but you know what I liked about that though that she didn't is how close to actual like history and some of these manuscripts are there really, where it's the victors and it's the people who know the people they're writing about that make it sound better, right? I mean, that's how most history is.
Well,
recorded.
if she was such a
it's usually a lot more flowery. It's the reason why we think of medieval times as this sort of like better, like really like, nice, people are kind of enchanted by medieval stuff, very much like Sansa in the first season. And it wasn't,
Well, if she's such a good person, I would assume she would write the truth in there, but that's okay. No, but yeah, another ending I did like, I liked that Gendry, he was in the group. He's more of a commoner voice in that council group. And I was,
Well, he's a lord
well,
now.
that's what I'm saying, but he came from very humble beginning. So I did like that. Hopefully in the future that that Council of Lords or whatever will be a little more friendly to the common people, despite laughing at how stupid they were massively. But that was kind of funny at least.
Yeah, well, look, if you were expecting them to go full democracy, I don't know.
Oh no, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that at all.
I'll tell you this, and then we can go to closing to our closing segment here. But I say forget doing a prequel. I want to see the small council with Tyrion, with Bronn, with Sam, with Davos, with all of them. But I want it like done Veep style.
Oh, okay.
Like it's just them just like dealing. I don't like no real major political shit. I just want to see them having to deal with all like, just people fucking up building the boats and Bronn like not wanting to give any coin for anything. I mean, that would be, I would, HBO, that's how you keep subscribers. You have.
I think Peter Dinklage is probably like, I'm piecing out on this and never coming back. I don't know. Maybe not.
I don't know. This is probably done more for his career than really anything else.
Oh no, definitely. I think everybody I've seen every actor from this show in other things like in the last couple of years, but I'm not sure that ever come back.
Well, that's the.
I was like, Lisa, do you have a sequel idea?
Oh, you can't sequel
You
this.
can't. There's or like
It
even
needs to be done.
even a prequel. Even like, is there any like because they're spinning up stuff?
Well, what are the prequels would you want to
Yeah.
see of all the?
I want to see Duncan Egg.
Okay, Sir Duncan the Tall and Egg.
Yeah, I think that's a fascinating story how he became king and his brother ended up at the wall and all that.
Yeah, I'm less interested in seeing Aegon the Conqueror and doing all that. I'd rather see more. I mean, it'd be hard to set it up, I guess. I'd rather see more the actual Dance of Dragons, where you actually had the Targaryens and a whole bunch of like Civil War infighting and the Blackfire Rebellion. I think those would be really cool. And Blackfire Rebellion ties into Duncan Egg. Yeah,
I think you'd have to pick something that isn't too spelled out in the books, right? That you could have a little bit of leeway with to keep it interesting. Because all the Game of Thrones nerds. I'm just the nerd for the show, but you guys are more book and show. So you guys definitely got me covered. But
Lisa's read the books. I've read the books and the history textbooks they have and all the other bullshit George R. Martin's doing besides writing the
that's
books.
what I'm saying. Like you couldn't like follow like the histories exact or like have one that's really detailed because then you wouldn't have any exciting places to go. But
but it's interesting that history book is written like it's written by a maester that's collecting the histories. And I think what your point about Brienne and even Lisa, what you mentioned about with Tyrion being excluded is that I think you can go off those history books and still give you leeway because history wasn't captured perfectly. So I think there's some area you could be creative in those sort of spaces, right? But I think with that said, guys, let's get into the final cut.
Final cut.
Now we'll do this. We already talked about the show as full, so we'll just talk about this as a series finale. What do you give this, Lisa?
I'm on the fence.
This is tough. This is tough.
I think
it's really hard.
I think I would say maybe because it's going to be hard to do it. Not think about the whole series and not think about
No, I'm thinking about just this.
I think in terms of how satisfied are you with the ending? It's probably where your final cut score is going to indicate.
Well, you go first then, because you seem to have a decisive score.
I think in terms of just this episode, how this ended, what I was sort of expecting or kind of wanting to see, I think I would have this as 7 out of 10 dragon's eggs.
Okay.
I thought it ended as well as the show is going to end. I did like that we didn't get ambiguous endings by any stretch. We didn't get a Sopranos sort of thing. I thought everyone's kind of comments around the previous couple episodes that they're like, I thought they did a lot of good stuff that maybe they should have done earlier. But like Tyrion and Jon's discussion talking about that and really setting that whole thing, I thought that was done well. Again, outside of some dragon logic stuff, I'm not worrying about too much. I thought it was good. I am satisfied as a show watcher with this ending. As a book reader, I mean, I just don't consider the books finished. I know it's probably the ending we're gonna get largely, but I don't know. I almost have to view them now as just two separate things.
Yeah.
So, Nate, what about you? What would you give it?
Okay, so just for the finale, so I would say like the show up until this season, I would give like a 10, which is why I was so excited. I don't think I've ever been this excited for a TV show like on a week-to-week basis, probably ever.
What you're saying is it's your fault, Nate.
Yeah, a little bit, but it definitely. But I think we can all agree the quality dropped off pretty dramatically.
No, agree.
The ending, like I said, there were some good points, and some of the story beats. I again, like Lisa was saying, I think they make sense. It's just, man, I really wish the lead up to them would have been a lot better. My wife was watching this with me, and I was like, "Hey, there's 20 minutes left." She's like, "It doesn't matter." So that's basically how I feel about it. So I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10 melted throats.
Okay, Lisa, bring us home.
I liked it as a finale. I know Mitch is over the moon that Tyrion survived the whole time, because you've been stressing about that for 10 years now.
Oh my God. Yes. I stay on Tyrion very hard.
I'll probably agree with you, Mitch.
Really?
I'll probably say about a 7 out of 10. Because if the season itself had been better, I think everyone would have been like, oh, that was a good ending, right? We're just bitter about how we got here.
Yeah.
So, but I like the endings. I think they make sense.
I wonder if a year from now, it'll be interesting to go back and watch all the episodes, just go and all the way through, try to marathon it and see if it changes any or not.
Do you think the gap between last season and this season hurt them?
I think the reduced episode numbers. I
for sure.
I really just think they needed 1 or 2 episodes to really kind of let some things breathe. I think the problem is that you went from having a show that was drawing a lot of things out to try to give George time to write, and so the pacing's very slow and multiple episodes are like a week, and then all of a sudden hell, even in this episode, there's a 2-week time jump.
Yeah.
And not, just very abrupt. Like, I only noticed because someone said that, and someone said 2 weeks, and then Tyrion's beard just looked more haggard. So I don't know. All right. Well, we want to know what you think. Let us know. Nate, where can they tell us what their thoughts about Game of Thrones?
Yeah, if you have, I don't know if anyone else has opinions on Game of Thrones, Mitch, but if they do, you can check us out. TexasPodcastMassacre@gmail.com. Send your emails. There are so many opinions on this. I'm excited to see some of the responses. You can check us out on our website, TexasPodcastMassacre.com. Check us out on Facebook at TXPodMassacre. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and all your other podcast platforms.
All right, yeah. So next week we'll be back with a regularly scheduled horror film. Oh, it's gonna be a pretty great one. I don't want to mention it just yet, but I think it's a big one. So most everyone hopefully has seen this. So keep an eye out on our socials. We'll kind of give you some info on that. From all of us here at Texas Podcast Massacre, thank you so much for tuning in, and just keep telling yourself it's only a movie. Good night.